Hello, good morning dear students. Welcome to Interactive Virtual Class Nagaland once again. So students, we have been learning about friction in our previous classes. Yes, we have discussed about why friction is required and why friction is considered a necessary evil in our previous class. Friction is necessary, okay, to perform various activities, our day-to-day activities like to walk, to hold an object, to write. Yes, so friction is necessary in our day-to-day activities. But we have also discussed that friction causes wear and tear, and that is why friction is considered as a necessary evil. Okay, so here we see that friction is not always required, right? So in today's class we will learn about how to increase friction and how to decrease friction, okay, in different situations. So let us see. Here we see a group of boys, okay, they're going to play a game, okay. Now before playing the game, we see that they are applying dirt on their hands, right? So for example, okay, if you know the game named Kabaddi, before playing Kabaddi, we also apply dirt on our hands. Yes? Why is this so? We will see, okay? The next we have here is the sole of our shoe, okay? The sole of our shoe have grooves, right? So why is this so? The next we have is vehicle tires. Vehicle tires, they have threads on it. Yes, this pattern, right? They have these threads on vehicle tires. The next example we see here is two person, okay, walking on the snow. Now when we look at their shoe, they have spikes in their shoes, right? So why do snowshoes have spikes on it? Yes, students. So in all of these examples, okay, applying dirt on our hands, the grooves on our shoes, sole of our shoe, the threads on tires, okay, vehicle tires, and spikes on snowshoe. All these, okay, we do because, okay, we need to increase the friction for better grip. Okay, we apply dirt on our hands because in kabaddi we hold our hands, right? We hold our friends. So to get better grip, okay, we are applying dirt on our hands to increase friction. Similarly for this shoe, okay, for the sole of our shoe and the threads on the tires, these are there to increase the friction, okay, so that we don't slip, okay, while walking, and the car or the vehicle does not slip while driving. Okay, so all these cases and the spikes on the snowshoes are also to increase friction. So these are some of the ways, okay, through which we can increase the friction for better grip. All right, again here we see a man riding a bicycle. Okay, now when he applies brake, the cycle stops moving. Yes, so what happens now? Here, okay, when the man apply brakes, okay, the brakes of the bicycle and the rims gets interlocked. Okay, so when they get interlocked, they will stop moving. Okay, so this is how it works. When the man apply brakes on while riding the bicycle, it gets interlocked and the bicycle stops moving. Another example we see here is, okay, this gymnasts, okay, they apply coarse substances on their hands. Okay, why is it so? It is to increase, okay, the grip, okay, to increase friction for better grip. So gymnasts apply coarse substance on their hands to increase friction for better grip. Okay, so here we see, okay, some of the ways. We have seen some examples, okay, how to increase friction. So in some situation we have to increase friction for better grip. Okay, in some cases we have to reduce friction. So far we have discussed about how to increase the friction. Now let us see some examples on how to reduce friction. So again here we have seen the similar examples in a previous class as well. Here we see two boys playing carom. Observe carefully, alright students. Now when the boy tries, okay, to hit this dice, it did not move to a properly, right? It only moves a short distance. Now let us see what he does. When he applies, okay, powder on this carom board, let's see what happens. Okay, let us see what happens. Now again, he tried to shoot the dice. It moves faster, more smoothly. Yes, students? So observe carefully, alright? In the first case, the dice moved a very short distance, but after applying the powder, okay, the dice move smoothly. Yes, students? Let us see again. Here we see that after applying the powder on this carom board, the dice move smoothly. So why did the striker move easily in the second case? Yes, students? It is because the powder spread on the board reduces the friction between the striker and the board. Okay, here the friction is more, and that is why the striker or the dice did not move properly, right? It did not move smoothly. But in the second case, when powder is applied on the carom board, okay, the friction is reduced between the surface of the striker and the surface of the carom board, and that is why in the second case the striker move easily. Okay, so here by using powder, okay, we can reduce friction. Okay, but in or while playing carom, we can reduce friction by applying powder on the carom board. Now let us see here. Here we see a man, okay, stitching using his machine, but we see that he is finding difficult to stitch because his machine is not working properly. And here we see a boy riding a bicycle, but very slowly. It is because some part of his bicycle has rusted. Okay, so there is more friction, so he is finding difficult to ride the bicycle. The next example we see here is a boy trying to open an iron gate, but it's stuck. He's finding difficult to open the gate, to move the gate. So in all these cases, we see that because of friction, okay, because of friction, there are some problem in the machine, in the bicycle, and in the iron gate. Yes, so here we see that friction reduces efficiency and causes the wearing out of moving parts of machine. So here because of friction, okay, it reduces the efficiency. But what can we do here? So to increase, okay, the efficiency of the working this machine or of this the gate bicycle in the machine, we can reduce friction. So how do we reduce friction in these cases? Here we see man applying oil, okay, on his machine. Now it's moving smoothly. Yes, it's moving smoothly after applying oil. In the second case, let us see what the boy does. Okay, he's riding the bicycle slowly. Let's see what he does to reduce friction. Okay, so he is also applying some oil. Yes, now when we apply oil, we see that the boy is now riding the bicycle easily, more smoothly. Yes, students. And the next we see here is, okay, we see a boy applying grease on the gate, on the iron gate. Now after applying it, here we see that he can open the gate easily. Yes, students. So in all these three cases, we see that they are either applying oil or grease to reduce the friction. So we apply oil or grease to reduce the friction, and this process is known as lubrication. Okay, so what is lubrication? The use of oil or grease to reduce friction is known as lubrication. So we can also use grease or oil to reduce friction. Okay, and the substance used for lubrication is known as lubricant. Okay, the substance used for lubrication is known as lubricant. So here we see a boy, okay, now he is putting some oil into his bicycle. Let's see how this works. Okay, so when, see, the part of bicycle are rusted. Yes, students, this part of bicycle are rusted, and that is why the boy is finding difficult to ride. But when he applied oil on his bicycle, the oil will fill up the space, okay, and make it smooth. So now he can ride the bicycle easily. Okay, the oil or grease fills the gap, and the two surfaces become smooth. Okay, so this is how we can use oil or grease to reduce the friction. Frictional force gets reduced by applying oil or grease. Alright students, so we have the first question for today. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, why do car tires have treads? Why do car tires have treads? So I'm giving you 30 seconds for this question. Your time starts now. Why do car tires have treads? Option A is to decrease weight. Option B is to increase friction for better grip. And option C is to make cars faster. Option D is to reduce friction. Yes, students? Alright, students, your time is up, and yes, very good. The correct answer is option B, that is to increase friction for better grip. Car tires have treads to increase friction for better grip. Alright, students, we have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, explain why lubrication is used to reduce friction in mechanical systems. We have 4 options. I'm giving you 30 seconds for this question. Your time starts now. Explain why lubrication is used to reduce friction in mechanical systems. Option A is by increasing surface area. Option B is by decreasing temperature. Option C is by creating a smooth layer. And option D is by increasing friction. So which of the following option is the correct answer? Yes, students? Alright, students, your time is up, and yes, very good. The correct answer is option C, that is by creating a smooth layer. By creating a smooth layer, lubrication reduces friction in mechanical system. So option C, by creating a smooth layer, is the correct answer. Alright, students, let us proceed. So here we see, a person returning from journey. Now he is trying to lift, these 2 big bags, but he is finding difficult, right? Now he is pulling it, but it is difficult to pull it, to slide it. Yes, students? But here we see a woman, carrying a large trolley, but she can move this trolley easily. Yes, students? So let us see, why? Why is the boy finding difficult to pull the 2 bags, but why is the woman finding it easy, to pull the trolley? So let us see. Now, to understand that, let us perform an activity. So you can do this in your classroom as well. For this activity, we need 1 big book and 3 pens. Now, first what I want you to do is place a book on your desk or table, and try to slide it. Now when you try to slide the book, it moves a very short distance, right? Now take the same book, and place it on top of 3 pens as shown here. Take the same book and place it on top of 3 pens, and now give a push. Now you will see that it is easier to move the book, when it is placed on top of the pen. Yes? So when one body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is called the rolling friction. So here the book is rolling with the help of the pen, right? It's moving with the help of the pen. The pen rolls below, so it is easier to move the book. So when one body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is called the rolling friction. So rolling friction or rolling reduces friction. So here in these 2 cases, in the first case, the boy is trying to slide the bag. Yes, and in this case, there are wheels on the trolley, so it's rolling. That is why in the first case, the boy is finding difficult to move the bag, but in the second case, the lady is finding it easier to pull the trolley, because it has wheel, it is rolling, and in this case it is sliding. So from here we see that sliding friction is more than rolling friction. Now unless we overcome this sliding friction, we cannot move the object. Unless we overcome the rolling friction, we cannot move the object. But here sliding friction is more than rolling friction, so more force will be required, okay, to overcome sliding friction, and less force will be required to overcome rolling friction. That is why it is easier to roll this trolley than to slide this back. Alright, so here sliding friction is more than rolling friction, and in a previous class we have seen that static friction is more than sliding friction. So when we combine these two, we can write in this way, that static friction is more than sliding friction, and sliding friction is more than rolling friction. Okay, so the friction decreases in this way. So it will be more difficult to overcome static friction, and it will be more easier to overcome rolling friction, because rolling friction is the least. Okay, so static friction is more than sliding friction, sliding friction is more than rolling friction. Remember this. All right, students. Now what do we see here, students? Have you ever seen this structure somewhere? Maybe on your bicycle? Yes, these are known as ball bearings. Okay, and in most machines, sliding is replaced by rolling by the use of ball bearing. Okay, so we have seen that sliding friction is more than rolling friction. So to reduce friction, we can, okay, roll it instead of sliding. Okay, so in most machine, sliding friction is replaced by rolling by the use of ball bearings. Okay, so here we see some examples. We have ball bearings in these cases. Yes, students. So here we see that ball bearings are used between hubs and axles of ceiling fans and bicycles to reduce friction. Okay. Alright, students, we have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, what is the role of friction in the functioning of a bicycle brake? Okay. We have 4 options. I'm giving you 30 seconds for this question. Your time starts now. What is the role of friction in the functioning of a bicycle brake? Option A is it accelerates the bicycle. Option B is it slows down or stops the bicycle. Option C, it increases the bicycle speed. Option D, it has no role. So what is the role of friction in the functioning of a bicycle brake? Yes, students? Alright, students, your time is up. Now, when we apply brake, what happens? Because of friction, the bicycle slows down and it stops moving, right? So the correct answer for this question is option B, that is, it slows down or stops the bicycle. Alright, very good, students. We have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, why are ball bearings used in machinery? Okay, we have 4 options. I'm giving you 30 seconds to answer this question. Your time starts now. Why are ball bearings used in machinery? Option A is to increase friction. Option B is to reduce friction. Option C is to make the machinery heavier. Option D is to decrease speed. So which of the following option is the correct answer? Yes, students? Alright, students, your time is up. And yes, very good. The correct answer for this question is option B, that is to reduce friction. Ball bearings, okay, are used in machinery to reduce friction by replacing the sliding with rolling in most machine, right? So ball bearings used in machinery is to reduce friction. So option B is the correct answer. Now students, let us see here. Here we see, okay, that it's windy, the air is blowing. Yes, students, the air is blowing. And here we see a waterfall Yes, beautiful waterfall. Yes, students. So here we have air and water. Okay. Now gaseous and liquids are commonly known as fluids. Now we have been discussing about friction. Yes, we have seen that frictional force is the force that resists or opposes the motion when two surfaces are in contact. So we have discussed about several examples. Yes, we have discussed about the sliding of the bag that we have just seen, rolling of trolley. Now our question here is, do gases and liquids exert frictional force on the object? Yes, do gases or liquids exerts frictional force on the object moving through it? Yes, students, let us see. Okay, here we see bird flying in the air. Yes, so our question is, do air exert force on this bird? Yes, right? Air exerts frictional force on objects moving through it. Okay, and here we see fish swimming in water. So is there frictional force, okay, acting on this fish when it passes through this, when it moves through this water? Yes, okay. Water and other liquids also exert force of friction when objects move through them. Okay, move through them. So here we see that both gases and liquids, they exert frictional force on the object moving through them. So fluid also exerts force of friction on objects in motion through them. And the frictional force exerted by fluids is called drag. Okay, remember this, students. The frictional force exerted by fluids is also called drag. It can be called as fluid friction or drag. Okay, remember this term, drag. The frictional force exerted by fluids is also called drag. Okay, so let us see here. Here we see an airplane. Yes, we see an airplane flying. Yes, students, we see an airplane flying. So when this object moves in the air, okay, the air also exerts frictional force on the object moving through them. The frictional force on an object in a fluid depends on three factors. Okay, so let us see. The first is speed of object with respect to the fluid. The next we have is the shape of the object, and the third is the nature of the fluid. So these are the three factors on which, okay, the frictional force on an object in a fluid depends on. First is the speed of the object, then the second is the shape of the object, the third is nature of the fluid. Now let us see. Okay, observe carefully the shape. Okay, the shape of the objects. So here we see an airplane flying in the air. So observe its shape carefully. All right, and here we see a submarine. Yes, we see a submarine underwater. Observe its shape. Okay, observe its shape. We have a submarine here. The next we have is car. Okay, observe its shape. We have car moving on the road. Observe its shape carefully. Then next we have is the bird flying in the air. Again observe its shape. Okay, again observe its shape. And here we have fishes in water. Again observe its shape carefully. Yes, students. So now when we compare all these shapes, there is some similarities. Yes, there are some similarities. These type of shape are known as streamlined shape. Okay, now when the scientists, invented or built airplane, submarine and car, they take hints from the nature. Okay, like the fishes. Okay, like the fishes, like the birds. Okay, they move through water, they fly in the air. So the scientists also take hints from the nature like birds and fishes, and they build the airplane submarine in this shape known as the streamline shape. And because of this streamline shape, this special shape is given, okay, to the objects moving in water and in air to reduce friction or to reduce the drag. Okay, so the bodies that move through fluids have streamline shapes, so they experience less friction. Okay, now when the object is moving through water, okay, there is frictional force exerted on this object, so it will be difficult for them to move forward. Yes, but they are given this special shape known as the streamline shape, so to experience less friction so they can move forward. Okay, so this is about fluid friction. Alright students, we have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, fluid are option A gases, option B liquids, option C gases and liquids both, option D none of this. I'm giving you 30 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Yes students, fluids of fluid are option A gases, option B liquids, option C gases and liquids, option D none of this. Yes students, which of the following option is the correct answer? Alright students, your time is up, and yes, very good. The correct answer for this question is option C, that is both gases and liquids. Okay, gases and liquids are commonly known as fluid. Alright students, we have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, fluid friction is also known as, okay, which of the following? We have four options. Option A is roll-in friction, option B is slide-in friction, option C is drag, and option D is static friction. So I'm giving you 30 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Fluid friction is also known as which of the following? Option A is roll-in friction, option B is slide-in friction, option C is drag, and option D is static friction. Yes students. Alright students, your time is up, and yes, very good. The correct answer for this question is option C, that is drag. Okay, fluid friction is also known as drag. Very good students. Alright students, so in today's class, okay, we have discussed about how to increase friction and how to reduce friction. We have discussed about increasing friction and reducing friction. Yes students. Now if you can recall, can you tell me some of the ways to increase friction? Yes students. There are some situations or there are some activities that require more friction, whereas there are some activities or some work which required less friction. So depending on the activities and depending on the work, we require less friction and we require more friction depending on different activities. So in some activities we have to increase the friction, in some activities we have to reduce the friction. So what are some of the ways to increase friction that we have discussed in today's class? Yes students, some of the ways, okay, in which or through which we can increase friction are by applying dirt on our hands, right? When we apply dirt on our hands, we are increasing the friction, so we can grab or our friends easily while playing games. The second is the grooves on the sole of our shoe. There are grooves on the sole of our shoe to increase friction so that we do not slip while walking or running. Yes. The next is the treads on the vehicle tires. The vehicle tires, they have big treads. The trucks and the buses, the bigger vehicles, the big vehicles, they have big treads on their vehicle tires to increase friction. And the next we have is the spike. Yes, there's spike on this snowshoe, right, to increase friction, so they do not slip, okay, or they do not fall down while walking on the snow. So, and we have also discussed about the gymnasts, the athletes, the players applying coarse substances on their hands to increase, okay, the friction for better grip. Yes, students. So these are some of the ways, okay? These are some of the ways through which we can increase the friction. We have also discussed some of the examples to how to reduce friction. So we can reduce friction by applying powder. The first example we discussed is by applying powder on the carom board. We reduces the friction so the striker moves easily. The second point we discuss on reducing friction is lubrication, right? And using of oil or grease, okay, to reduce the friction is known as lubrication, and the substances that we use in lubrication are known as lubricants. So we have seen the examples. The man applying oil on his machine, okay, to reduce friction. The boy applying oil on his bicycle part to reduce friction. Yes, students. And we also apply, okay, grease on the part, on the gate, on our iron gate or different items to reduce friction. So this process is known as lubrication. Yes, students. We have also discussed about the rolling friction. It is more difficult to slide the object and it is easier to roll the object. Yes, so in most machine parts, okay, in most machine parts, sliding is replaced by rolling friction. Yes, sliding is replaced by rolling by making use of wheels and by making use of ball bearings. We have seen the example. It is difficult for the man to slide the bag. Yes, but it is easy for the woman to pull the trolley because there is wheel on it. We have also discussed that static friction is more than sliding friction. Sliding friction is more than rolling friction. So we will require more force to overcome static friction and less force to overcome rolling friction. So we can also reduce friction by making use of wheel or by replacing sliding with rolling. Okay. Also we have discussed about fluid friction. Okay. We have discussed about friction. When two surfaces come in contact, okay, there is a force that resists or opposes the motion of the object, which is known as frictional force. So the air, okay, or the gases and liquid, they also exert force on the object moving through it. Okay, gases and liquids are commonly known as fluid, so it is known as fluid friction. The object, okay, moving through gases or liquid, okay, they also experience frictional force, and the frictional force, okay, exerted on the object by this fluid is known as drag. Okay, is known as drag. Now we have also seen that the fluid friction depends on three factors. The first is the speed of the object, okay, speed of the object with respect to the fluid, and the shape of the object and the nature of the fluid. Okay, we have seen some examples like aeroplane, submarine, yes, the shape of the car, the shape of bird, okay, the shape of the aeroplane, the shape of the submarine, they resemble the shape of the bird and the shape of the fishes. It is because the scientists also took hints from the nature, okay, and this special shape given to these objects is called streamline shape. Okay, now streamline shape is given to this object like aeroplane and submarine so that they experience less friction while moving through the fluid, that is while moving through water or while moving through the air. Okay, so the special shape given to aeroplane and submarine is known as streamline shape. So in today's class we have discussed about increasing friction, decreasing friction. We have also discussed about fluid friction. So I hope you are clear with what we have discussed today. Yes, students. So this leads us to the last question for today. Okay, please get your rough devices ready and give your feedback about today's class. How do you feel about today's class? Okay, option A is happy, option B is quite good, option C is satisfactory, and option D is confused. So I'm giving you 25 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Yes, students, kindly take some time and give your feedback about today's class. Alright, students, your time is up. Thank you so much for your response and thank you for joining today's class. I will see you again in our next class. Till then, take care everyone and have a nice day.